is Roger, and on the first negative, I'm going to refute the affirmative's argument, major claim that the U.S. should substantially reduce foreign aid to the Middle East. First off, the affirmative uses a few secondary claims which I will refute. The two being that the U.S. aid is not in our best. U.S. foreign aid is not it's not really effective and is not in our best interest, and that we should reform other aid programs instead. First off, the U.S. foreign aid given to the Middle East actually does promote security. It keeps governments that we support, such as Egypt and Israel, in power, and it keeps the terrorists from destabilizing the country and taking over where they can use the area to plan attacks on the United States. Israel is actually a national interest. The government of both countries, according to Listos, has given huge importance to each other and are working together to spread peace and harmony in the Middle East. In the past, Israel obtained substantial economic assistance from the U.S. Currently, the American government provides military assistance to them. This is the reason Israel has been successful in establishing itself as one of the powerful military nations in the Middle East. Israel has constantly backed up America and our plans and our foreign policies in the region. One of the main reasons why that we provide foreign aid to the Middle East is that we seek to keep the region safe, and one of them is by not allowing Iran to obtain nuclear weapons. And Israel is constantly backing us up in that area. The U.S. has always supported Israel. Meanwhile, this is a quote from Daily News Egypt. Meanwhile, President Carter committed several billion U.S. dollars in aid to Israel and Egypt that would be paid on a yearly basis. As a result of the Camp David Accords, Israel gained a diplomatic recognition from Egypt, a key state in the Middle East. Egypt was the first Arab nation to recognize Israel. While many Arab nations were initially furious with Egypt's decision to do so, others gradually announced diplomatic recognition of Israel as well. This shows that our foreign aid is effective and that our billions of dollars are actually being put into use. Also, U.S. companies benefit from U.S. foreign aid to the Middle East. When we give military aid to the Middle East, those countries often use that money to purchase weapons such as tanks and jets from America, and that spurs economic growth in our nation. The biggest chunk, military aid, averaging about $1.3 billion per year since 1987, with much of that military equipment. For instance, Egypt plans to acquire 1,200 M1A1 Abrams battle tanks from the U.S. The components are jointly manufactured in both countries and shipped to Egypt for final assembly. This year, the U.S. is also shipping 20 F-16 fighter jet overseas. Plus, there's money for border security along the Sinai Peninsula. And this is a quote from the New York Times. This shows that the money that Egypt receives from the U.S. is actually being put back into our economy, and it spurs economic development. The military industry, the defense industry, is one of the significant drivers of economic development in communities throughout the country. Positive benefits from military installations impact every citizen. Companies providing jobs in this industry generated about $324 billion in sales revenue in 2010, with $15.6 billion in net income after tax at an average of pre-tax reported operating profit margin of 10.5%. And also, 3.5 million jobs are indirectly and directly associated with this area of industry. And this is information obtained from military economy site selection. The U.S. gives military aid to the Middle East to protect our national interests, which is to continue allowing our allies to live in peace, and also to allow the flow of oil to continue. Iran recently has, over the past recent years, has consistently threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz, which is a important body of water that allows a majority of the world's oil shipping containers to go through to export oil to other countries. And many of the world's countries depend upon oil from the Middle East. And America has stations the Fifth Fleet in the area to, over many decades, to protect that strait and to also provide peace in the region. Without aid, military aid to the Middle East, countries where we have military bases have no reason to continue allowing us to have bases in the region. And the bases in the region that we do have allow us to project global military power, which allows us to influence other countries, and it deters enemy countries from thinking about taking action against the US so easily. The affirmative also states that we should reform aid programs and other aid programs instead, such as using Middle Eastern foreign aid and giving it to other countries that need it more, such as African countries. But according to the same site that the affirmative used, Middle East only received about 10% of economic aid, 10% of foreign, U.S. economic aid given in the year 2012. 25% was given to sub-Saharan Africa, and that just goes to show that a majority of our foreign aid isn't given to the Middle East. Thank you.